Paging Aitken Robertson to courtroom number 2. The jury is back with a verdict. Members of the jury, how do you find the accused? Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty on all accounts, Your Honor.
Welcome to Aiken Robertson's Legally Speaking YouTube channel. I'm your host, Melanie van Orde, a licensed paralegal. And today we have the pleasure again of speaking to Phil Stiles, a knowledgeable and experienced defense counsel. In this episode, Phil will be discussing the crime of indecent exposure, shedding some light on the legal implications, defenses, and what the accused should know. So stay tuned for an insightful and informative conversation. Phil, what constitutes indecent exposure under the law and what actions can lead to this charge?
Well, indecent exposure under the criminal code is essentially exposing one's genitals to somebody under the age of 16. The offense is made out if it's done for a sexual purpose, and that's a key feature of the definition. Anyway, that in a nutshell is the definition.
And then what are the potential penalties and consequences someone might face if they are convicted of indecent exposure?
Well, indecent exposure carries a mandatory minimum sentence. It's 90 days for a when the Crown proceeds by indictment, and it's 30 days if the Crown proceeds by summary procedure. So there's jail time involved. Now, some of the mandatory minimums are no longer on the books because they've been challenged. However, a typical jail sentence or a typical sentence includes custody. It would be very unusual for the Crown not to seek jail on an indecent exposure charge.
Are there any immediate or long-term impacts in, for example, potential registration as a sex offender?
Well, yes, indecent exposure, definitely one of the ancillary orders that accompanies it is a SOIRA order, which would mean that the individual or the convicted is on the sex offender registry for a period of, it's usually for a period of 10 years if the Crown proceeds by summary and 20 years if the Crown proceeds by indictment. You're going on the registry if you're convicted of indecent exposure.
And then can you explain maybe some of the legal defenses that might be available to someone who is accused of indecent exposure?
A lot of the cases turn on whether the act was for a sexual purpose. A lot of the time, naturally, a concerned parent who gets wind of the fact that someone was in the buff in front of their child will go to police. And there's a misconception that simply being naked in front of somebody who's under the age of 16 is an offense. A lot of these turn on whether the act was actually for a sexual purpose. So that can be a hurdle for the Crown. If it's an obvious sexual act, such as masturbation or something that is overtly sexual, then it's clear cut. But often, just by way of having genitals exposed, doesn't necessarily make out the offense. And so a common defense is that the act was not for a sexual purpose. And tags along with that idea is that an act may not necessarily be intended to be sexual and be intended to be in any way sexual in front of somebody under the age of 16. So it's a mens rea offense. Crown has to prove intention, and often it's not clear from the Crown's case alone.
Well, thank you so much for all the information today about and coming in on discussing indecent exposure with our viewers. And thank you to everyone else for joining us today on the Legally Speaking Aitken Robertson YouTube channel. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another video. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and take care. Thank you for tuning in to Legally Speaking, proudly brought to you by Aitken Robertson Criminal Defence. We represent clients facing criminal charges all over Ontario, providing you with legal support and dedicated advocacy. If you enjoyed this episode and want to see more content, please like and subscribe to our channel. For more information, visit our website. We also offer free books on various types of criminal charges, which you can request on our website or by using the QR codes on your screen now. For legal assistance, call us today or visit our website to request a meeting with one of our experienced lawyers or licensed paralegals. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on Legally Speaking.